Hey everybody, welcome to Clark's Place. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to show the end of the fender panel extension and what we had to do to take that factory piece. Was it AMD, Pop?
Yes.
The AMD fender extension down here. The body lines that line up. Here's a body line here. And then what we had to do, we put this on the end of this fender and pop welded that in. And then what we had to do to get it to line up with the bottom of the rocker.
And this is for anybody not necessarily doing a Daytona, which normally we would have just grabbed an AMD new fender for a 69 because they make them.
Can't do that though.
No. But when you're doing,
we might have if we grafted that whole nose on there, but
yeah. So you have to cut it off, of course. This is a 70 fender that we have cut off. You have to cut it off, and then here was a parking light, which you can see. There's where the parking light was. And you fill that in, and then you cut it off. You have to bend it up, and I put an extra piece of metal on the outside, and this will be tack welded today. And then ground some fender. You have to cut the headlight bucket. There's
that whole mounting assembly.
All that mounting for the bucket assembly in there. You don't need that because
that all came out.
Lights. Then, like Chris was just saying, you can't be choosy when you buy these fenders. If you find some 70s, you're lucky to begin with. And this one was just all probably
Swiss
saw
cheese.
in the previous videos.
Yeah.
So we cut it off. I welded on, but this still had a lot of rust. So when I ground it to get it good metal, you can see this, it's just a weak weld. And Chris is gonna try to build it up. But we put the piece on there, doing our alignment. This wouldn't line up. We had to put, these pieces, this one was good. We had to take it all off of there so we could cut it back.
Yeah, I think that's a video that I haven't posted, but it may end up as part of this video.
So putting this, you get this new piece with this panel. So putting it on there, we still had to graft in a smaller piece, which all I can say is when you cut your old brace out, leave a lot.
Yeah, but we even left a lot. This
we did.
This is longer than the line that you cut, or we cut.
We left it
because we thought it was right, and then 36 times mounting it on the car, we saw that it's still, this fender patch panel needed a 1/2 inch to meet our rocker.
Right.
Like this body line lined up with the top of the door and the top of the fender at the top of the cowl. Like such. I'll show that. So when the door was even and the fender is even here, down with the fender lined up right here, all the way down this body line.
Yes, lined up with what we had on there, but our fender stopped here. It's like, that was horrible. You could have your finger under it.
Yeah.
It was at least a 1/2 inch.
Yeah.
But we couldn't mess with this body line. Sure, we could have just...
From this point to this...
all this was right.
Is established if this is even with the cowl right here.
Yes.
So you can't change this body line. And it's subtle. It ends right in here. I don't know if you can make that out on the camera, but
yeah,
it's just a little line that disappears right there. And then this body line takes over to go to the back quarter.
So,
but
what we had to do,
yeah, which we're gonna have to,
is we cut this. That way, of course, the brace was not on there, and put a piece in.
We just cut out a 1/2 inch piece of sheet metal.
Right.
And you can see where I ground the weld off. That is the new piece of sheet metal right there.
Yeah, those two. There's the thickness of it.
And then this bottom line is one that I ground, and then I just welded this up from the back side.
Yeah, all this will have to be ground.
Yeah.
And all this has to be spotted in and ground. Then we're mounting it.
Crushed that a little bit to get it and all that.
All this was right. And I think we were 28 inches from the top of here to the edge of here.
Correct.
And
that is what my factory Fenders, not factory, but AMD metal is for the 69.
But this part, as we sucked this in, it would not come in. It pulled this in too far. So then we had to go back, and we just took, what was that? Quarter inch.
Where's the big grinder?
That's all put away.
Oh, it is.
Big old Craftsman 1/4 inch blade that is electric, and we just sliced this across and then just put it back down. So the material we cut out was perfect. We have to finish welding this.
Yeah, I just spot welded from the back side on
So
there.
that kicks this fender out so it would fit correctly. So
yeah, it needed to go in. It was too far off the body to line up with the rocker and the door. This needed to be cut and to allow it to go in a little further. And then were you going to mention this?
Yeah, I was still hitting this brace. So we tried to heat this
brace
up.
would hit like the bottom part of the cowl A-pillar. So we ground on that and just kind of smushed it.
And tapped it down with a sledge. And now all this fits fine. All of our tucking of this, which you can mount this. You can see how you're pulling the fender in. If you put shims, this is made to shim to get that to line up with your door and your rocker panel. So we've got all that done.
To explain this a little further, this was bottoming out, like it wrapped around the bottom of the cowl or the rocker and was bottomed out all the way against the body.
Yeah, the body's
and
here.
This was still a 1/2 inch out.
Yeah, you couldn't bring this in
inch.
because it was hitting that whatever. That's
No,
like
it was
inside.
hitting here too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It hit here and it hit here, bottomed out. So we needed to allow this to come in a little further, and we had to smush that down a little bit to get some clearance.
So this is the Franken fender.
Yeah, man, it is.
I mean, that's the stuff you have to do when you're messing with a 70 if it's not pristine. And come over here on this one. This was worse.
Well, this
it isn't worse here because all we had to do was put an extension in. All the rest of this lined up fine. But the places I had to cut out that had rust,
yeah, we still need to grind
those have to be ground, filling in the light. And this whole part up here was just weak as it could be with little holes. So I cut all that out and put in all metal. And of course, I put an extra layer of metal over the top of what I turned under as well,
just
to give this strength to have that valance mount up to it. And there's another piece under there.
Yeah,
but
that's definitely the Franken fender. But if you go to the last video where we showed this fender, that I've gotten a lot of comments and some emails from people saying thanks for showing this fender grafting. But as I panned from showing the top down the fender, this is where the door is mounted.
Yeah, it needs to come up.
It is down, and we had the fender flush here, and I went down and I panned and I showed this body line, and it matched perfectly. So I think what that tells me is we're gonna have to take a 1/4 inch from above this line.
We're gonna have to set this door up where it should go and still maybe work on this fender a little. Yes. And we may end up doing the same thing as we did the other one. But as that wrapped around where we beat in that support, here's where it was hitting.
Yeah.
This body. I mean, we could have probably smacked this in some.
I didn't want to mess with structure.
I didn't either. That's part of the structure. So
yeah.
Today we're just going to weld all these that we did yesterday. I bet three of us, what, 4 or 5 hours yesterday?
Yeah, me, you, and Doug probably put this fender on 15 times, probably.
My back is so sore today from, if any of you put a fender on, you know you have to kind of put this hole in the back first and then down on the front. And since it's on a rotisserie, it's up high. I made the mistake of, what, 20 times probably off and on that car.
Probably, yep.
Trying to fit it. And my back's just...
Well, I saw you stretching, and I've put my fenders on every time, but here's my eye view is I can see the top, and then Dad's eye view is down here. He couldn't see as he's mounting, so he just struggled and struggled.
Well, wait a minute.
But I always put this on first.
I think my rotisserie is higher than yours.
It could be.
Yeah, look at this.
Let's see the drop down on this.
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, this drops down from the bar maybe 2 inches there. Yours, I think it's the same height, Pop. We built these the same. Yeah, this looks like the same for me. You're just a little guy. You're just a little guy.
I gotta see this. Whoa, that is 55 inches to the top of that bolt. Yours is.
Mine's like 60.
I can't even pull that down. My back's sore. You gotta have. You're not level.
Yeah, just lift. It's the same, Pop.
Here's 55.
Yeah, that's level right there.
Yeah, you're about 53. It's about 2 inches higher.
Well, maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we made that one a little taller.
Oh, this is leaning this way a little bit, so you're cheating.
Okay.
Cheater.
They're close.
Yes, they're the same body, so.
So anyway.
So clean up all the welds today, and you can see the light through there.
Yeah, this one was really bad.
I gotta bead that, and then our tools for grinding is to get it like this. This is a whole welded line right here that I've cleaned up, and I just take this at the side,
right, and just kind of eat away at it, because you can't. This gets in a lot of good places, and is this peel and stick?
No, just twist off.
It's a twist off. Okay. Yeah.
So we go through a million of these guys. Here, hold it.
Yeah, and
when they get worn out, you just
take them off.
I don't think it's unscrewed. Oh, well, I unscrewed the whole thing. Here, put that back on there.
Anyway,
you got to hold the rubber part, and then it just twists off.
And this is a must, because you got to clamp it everywhere as you weld.
Nope. I think we've shown our clamp collection before.
Here you go.
Here's my clamp cart.
Oh yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, if you hold the rubber.
Yeah, they just twist off.
Those are just.
So we love those things.
They're kind of cheap. I mean, they're not free, but.
I think you get 25 for 25 bucks. So.
Yeah, $1 a piece or so.
So we'll clean all that up, and there's going to be hours and hours of adjustment doing hammer and dolly work to make sure this whole edge, because we've got it split here.
Yep.
It's going to take some work and some effort, and I want to make sure it's very, very close before I go buttoning all the welds up, so we'll probably put this on and off, I don't know, three or four more times, just making some tweaks and adjustments. But that's kind of how we do it, is I take that spinning wheel and hold it sideways, so I'm just grinding all the weld, and then I come back through with this new tool. We just got this. We used to use the air version, but this thing works super, super easy, and
we got lots of
very, very quick. And this just pops around, and it just, I mean, changing the blade in this Milwaukee tool is, or not blade, but sandpaper.
Yeah.
Super, super quick and easy.
Belt,
yeah. And I just take, for that, I focus only on the weld and just come across there, and just when you start to get into, like, this was a lot more aggressive sanding on this, when you get just past the weld and you see you're starting to hit the body, just stop that. You don't want to take away your metal here and here, just take away that ridge there, and then it ends up looking like this.
You have to be careful when you're welding something new to an older. I tried to get all the rust out of it, but as I was trying to spot, it would pop and blow a hole, because when it hits a rust spot, it pops. So
Yep.
a lot easier when you're doing new metal to new metal. I mean, you can weld your little heart out. But going against, you know, older metal that's got rust on it.
I think you sanded this edge down, and it
made
may
it too
have
thin.
taken some product out of the edge of that too, that it just made it too weak. So I'm gonna go back. I welded all this at 18 gauge because that's what these panels are, is 18 gauge, and that's what our sheet metal replacement metal that we've been putting into it is. But for this, I will probably set the Miller-Matic 215 to...
Sorry, turned on the wrong breaker.
I'll just cut that out. It's set to 18 gauge, so I will probably bump that up to, down to 22 gauge.
Yeah.
Or maybe even one less is 24 gauge.
And just build it up.
Just to kind of pop.
Then you'll just touch.
Yeah.
And it'll just leave like a little bead on there. And then that's something that will...
And that's what I did on all these, is just spot welded it in. But then lately, I think I get better results by taking it, and after I've got, like, say I had 5 spot welds there, I just take, and you can see like that little, this little guy here is a line that I just, oops, I'm not even filming my finger. Just that I went, zzz, and you can go really quick, and you can see a lot of my little lines that I've put in there. It makes for a better weld, I think. Instead of just spot, it sands off easier if you've got a little length of a quick weld. Just but that also allowed me to, oh, you already cut them off. Keeping it going keeps the metal hotter.
Yeah,
and
it does.
I think I blew through like a couple times here.
You did.
Before I got the knack of it, and I felt more comfortable doing the lines. So
yeah, if you're a really good welder,
do some lines.
You'll be skipping all through this anyway because you know how to do sheet metal.
We're not
rusty when it's not.
Yeah, we're not professionals at all, and I'm a little better welder for doing all this work, but we're getting pops up to speed too. So
yeah.
But you're back. You don't want to be leaning today, so you're not going to be welding.
I'm going to film or
you can spot me as I'm spotting.
Okay, so
we'll see if there's any other update as we get through this stuff today, but if it's the end of the video, it's the end of the video. Oh, heck, it's 17 minutes long, so
all right.
We're full of hot air here at Clark's Place. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, last peek. We took and welded this seam together on the front edge of that fender. So where that valance is, this doesn't want to pull apart. And put a little spot there. He had already spot welded all this. You can kind of see where he hit. It looks like a few spots there.
Yep.
And then all this as
we did that, and he did get it built up. And then where we put the piece in, he went down both sides of it, and then we dollied. This is just a magnet. Dollied this, and then he spot welded it. Did across there from where we cut it.
Yeah, that's.
And then had the stitch here too.
Let's see it from the back side here. All my welds went through, and then I just kind of spotted this and spotted that.
Yep.
The holes didn't actually line up with where we punched them, but
Yeah.
I guess I could fill that in with weld too, that little
Yeah,
dot.
I could cut that off.
Oh, you might.
I could use the cutter and just cut that off so that's all flush. Like I say, that's underneath the car. You'd have to be looking up at it, but I'll clean it.
Yeah, I don't like the holes in it.
No, I don't want to see a hole.
We'll fill
either.
those. And then, yeah, like he said, we had to stitch up here. I forgot to do that part and stitch it on both sides. And then where this seam came together, I built up this edge with weld and just really put a lot of weld in there to where we can grind that and it's not going to separate this folded metal.
Right.
It'll be a solid piece of metal in there. So I built all that out and kind of built all this out where I cut it. So that can grind off and grind flush and be a nice transition all across.
So we did another fit on it, put it on the car. Everything looks fine.
Yeah, everything fits fine. So that's the last look. Anything else from you, Pop?
Yeah, just last final check here.
28 inches.
Actually, we ended up going 27
Ooh,
and a half.
maybe heating all this
Yeah.
pulled that in a little bit.
But that's what we say when we get it on the car. Hopefully that'll stretch out a little.
I didn't hear any of my welds pop, so
No.
it's 27 and a half.
Yeah.
But like you
We'll see.
said, it will go on and it will flex and it'll be great. Awesome. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.
More and more coats on this, which this is kind of boring to see over and over. It's getting rounded now. This is smooth because we cut it here. It was cut
And
here,
there,
so
yeah.
it's weak. And all these layers deep
I
down
may
are
cut
all
this last little
fiberglass.
section and put it at the end of the other video because
Yeah.
we got a lot of footage of doing all this work
I know
here.
it. I know it.
And yeah, that's starting to shape up there. So
Starting to shape up. And other than that,
yeah, that looks pretty good. This is where the fender marker light was. Is that right?
yeah, I believe so. I believe so.
Hey, there's a biscuit there for you.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Yep.
But I think it was a weak area, so let's hit it again.
Yep. Looking good, mister. All right. That'll end the video for this video, and it'll end the video for the other video. So,
Okay.
any other things? What's your next steps? What you're working on next?
I guess just more sanding on the fender.